This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, and welcome to this pre-recorded webinar on the grant opportunity for the National Technical Assistance Center to improve state capacity to collect, report, analyze, and use accurate IDEA Part B data. I'm Rochelle Davis, a project officer at the Office of Special Education Programs, or OSUP. The purpose of this webinar is to increase applicants' awareness and understanding of the requirements for the Technical Assistance Center on the IDEA Part B data. Please note that information in this notice inviting applications for 84.373Y grant opportunity will be summarized during this webinar. I very strongly encourage you to read the original notice carefully and to view the recorded webinar with information about applying for OSUP's discretionary grants and submitting a grant application. Notice in particular the application due date, which happens to be September 11th. The agenda for this webinar covers 5 overarching topics. First, we will review the absolute priority for the competition. Then, we will discuss the application requirements and other important information related to eligible applicants, funding amounts, and formatting. I will then present the opportunity's general requirements. Finally, I will share the selection criteria that will be used by our external peer reviewers when evaluating applications. This priority is from allowable activities specified in or otherwise authorized in Section 611C1 of the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA. Specifically, funding for this program is authorized under 611C1 of IDEA, which gives the Secretary the authority to reserve up to 0.5% of the amounts appropriated under Part B for each fiscal year to provide TA activities where needed to improve the capacity of states to meet the data collection and reporting requirements under Parts B and C of IDEA. The purpose of this priority is to fund a cooperative agreement to establish and operate the National Technical Assistance Center to improve state capacity to collect, report, analyze, and use accurate IDEA Part data. In particular, this data center will focus on providing TA, or technical assistance, on collecting, reporting, analyzing, and using Part B data on children with disabilities ages 3 through 21 required under Sections 616 and 618 of IDEA, including Part B data on children with disabilities ages 3 through 5 required under Section 618 of IDEA for the Part B child count and educational environments data collection, and under Section 616 for indicators in which the IDEA Part B SPP and APR that solely use the EDFACS data as a source for reporting. The next several slides describe the programmatic outcomes and application requirements that applicants must meet. The first requirement specifies the outcomes that the project must be designed to achieve. That is, projects must achieve at a minimum the following outcomes: improved state data infrastructure by coordinating and promoting communication and effective data governance strategies among relevant state offices, including SCAs, LEAs, and schools, to improve the quality of IDEA data required under Section 616 and 618 of IDEA, and increase capacity of states to submit accurate and timely data to enhance current state validation procedures and to prevent future errors in state-reported IDEA Part B data. Additionally, applicants must meet the next outcomes. At a minimum, improve the capacity of states to meet data collection and reporting requirements under Section 616 and 618 of IDEA by addressing personnel training needs, developing effective tools such as training modules, and resources such as documentation and state data processes, and providing in-person and virtual opportunities for cross-state collaboration in data collection and reporting requirements that states can use to train personnel in schools, programs, agencies, and districts. And D, Improve the capacity of SEAs and LEAs in collaboration with SEAs to collect, analyze, and use both SEA and LEA IDEA data to identify programmatic strengths and areas for improvement, address root causes of poor performance towards outcomes, and evaluate progress towards outcomes. Lastly, projects must achieve at a minimum improved IDEA data validation by using results from data reviews conducted by the department to work with states to generate tools that can be used by states to lead to improvements in the validity and reliability of data required by IDEA and enable states to communicate accurate data to local consumers, such as parents, school boards, and the general public. And finally, F, increase the capacity of states to collect, report, analyze, and use high-quality IDEA Part B data. This slide provides an overview of other requirements for the application. More specific information related to these requirements is provided in the notice inviting applications, which again, I urge you to read. However, to summarize, the application must include personnel loading charts and timelines, budget for required trips to Washington, D.C. for the project kickoff, project directors meeting, annual planning meeting, and other trips as requested by OSEP. Budget for an annual set-aside of 5% of the grant amount to support emerging needs that are consistent with the proposed project's intended outcomes. And budget a high-quality website with an easy-to-navigate design that meets government or industry-recognized standards for accessibility. Further, the application must include an assurance to assist OSEP with the transfer of pertinent resources and products and to maintain the continuity of services to states during the transition to this new award period and at the end of this award period as appropriate. They must also describe how the project will ensure the recovery of indirect costs, that is the lesser of either A, its actual indirect cost as determined by the grantee's negotiated indirect cost rate agreement with its cognizant federal agency, and B, 40% of its modified total direct cost, otherwise known as MTDC, base as defined in 2 CFR 200.68. Finally, they must budget at least 50% of the grant award for providing targeted and intensive TA to states. This slide lists the eligible applicants for the competition. Applicants include SEAs, LEAs, including public charter schools that operate as LEAs under state law, IHEs, other public agencies, private nonprofit organizations, freely associated states and outlying areas, Indian tribes or tribal organizations, and for-profit organizations. These are cooperative agreements. The estimated available funds are $6.5 million, contingent upon the availability of funds and the quality of applications. We may make additional awards in FY 2020 from the list of unfunded applications from this competition. The estimated number of awards is 1, and the award size is $6.5 million for a single budget period of 12 months with a project period of up to 60 months. So that would be $6.5 million each year for 5 years. This slide includes information about the formatting and page limit recommendations. Please make sure that you double space all text in the application narrative and use a font that is 12-point or larger. And we recommend that you limit the application narrative to no more than 70 pages. The program has 2 general requirements. The applicant must, A, make positive effort to employ and advance in employment qualified individuals with disabilities in project activities. This is under Section 606 of IDEA. And B, involve individuals with disabilities or parents of individuals with disabilities, ages birth through 26, in the planning, implementing, and evaluating of the project. See Section 682A1, capital letter A, of IDEA. The next set of slides will describe the selection criteria for the competition. Reviewers will be awarding points based on each section of the narrative and will be asked to rate the applications based on the following criteria. 1, significance. 2, quality of project services. 3, quality of the project evaluation. 4, adequacy of resources. And finally, the quality of the management plan. The first criterion is the significance of the project. Applications can receive up to 10 points for this criterion. Reviewers will consider the extent to which specific gaps or weaknesses in services, infrastructure, or opportunities have been identified and will be addressed by the proposed project, including the nature and magnitude of those gaps or weaknesses. 2, the importance or magnitude of the results or outcomes likely to be attained by the proposed project. The second criterion is significance. The second criterion is project services, quality of project services, and applications can receive up to 35 points for this criterion. Reviewers will consider the extent to which the goals, objectives, and outcomes to be achieved by the proposed project are clearly specified and measurable. 2, the extent to which there is a conceptual framework underlying the proposed research or demonstration activities and the quality of that framework. 3, the extent to which the services to be provided by the proposed project reflect up-to-date knowledge from research and effective practice. 4, the extent to which the training and professional development services to be provided by the proposed project are of sufficient quality, intensity, and duration to lead to improvements in practice among the recipients of those services. 5, the extent to which the TA services to be provided by the proposed project involve the use of efficient strategies, including the use of technology as appropriate and the leveraging of non-project resources. And finally, 6, the adequacy of mechanisms for ensuring high-quality products and services from the proposed project. The third criterion is the quality of the project evaluation. Applications can receive up to 15 points for this criterion. Reviewers will consider 1, the extent to which the methods of evaluation are thorough, feasible, and appropriate to the goals, objectives, and outcomes of the proposed project. 2, the extent to which the methods of evaluation provide for examining the effectiveness of project implementation strategies. 3, the extent to which the methods of evaluation will provide performance feedback and permit periodic assessment of progress towards achieving intended outcomes. And finally, 4, the extent to which the methods of evaluation include the use of objective performance measures that are clearly related to the intended outcomes of the project and will produce quantitative and qualitative data to the extent possible. The fourth criterion is adequacy of resources. Applications can receive up to 15 points for this criterion. Reviewers will consider 1, the qualifications, including relevant training and experience of the project director or principal investigator. 2, the qualifications, including relevant training and experience of key project personnel. 3, the qualifications, including relevant training and experience of project consultants or subcontractors. 4, the qualifications, including relevant training experience of the evaluator. 5, the adequacy of support, including facilities, equipment, supplies, and other resources from the applicant organization or the lead applicant organization. 6, the relevance and demonstrated commitment of each partner in the proposed project to the implementation and success of the project. 7, the extent to which the budget is adequate to support the proposed project. And 8, the extent to which the costs are reasonable in relation to the objectives, design, and potential significance of the proposed project. The fifth criterion is the quality of the management plan. Applications can receive up to 25 points for this criterion. Reviewers will consider the adequacy of the management plan to achieve the objectives of the proposed project on time and within budget, including clearly defined responsibilities, timelines, and milestones for accomplishing project tasks. 2, the extent to which the time commitments of the project director and principal investigator and other key personnel are appropriate and adequate to meet the objectives of the proposed project. 3, the adequacy of mechanisms for ensuring high-quality products and services from the proposed project. And finally, 4, how the applicant will ensure that a diversity of perspectives are brought to bear in the operation of the proposed project, including those of parents, teachers, the business community, a variety of disciplinary and professional fields, recipients or beneficiaries of services, or others, as appropriate. Thank you for your time and attention. Again, I strongly encourage you to read the notice carefully and to view the recorded webinar with information about applying for OSEP's discretionary grants and submitting a grant application. And please pay very careful attention to the application due date and time provided in the notice. Please feel free to contact me if you have any questions about the OSEP grant opportunity for the National Technical Assistance Center to improve state capacity to collect, report, analyze, and use accurate IDEA Part B data. Thank you again for taking the time out of your day to listen to this presentation.